What's good, YouTube? But you already know, I got to do the intro for the podcast first. So that being said,
we are NXT.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you guys are listening to this, and whenever you guys are watching this. It's about that time. We're talking sports today, but not the one on his hat right here. We're talking about NFL Week 11 for the Nxt Up Fantasy Show. It's your boy, Will. Back again, and you probably kind of noticed that. It kind of seems like you guys are kind of used to this now. There's someone here missing again.
What's wrong with this dude?
I know, we found Waldo more times than this man being on this show, but it's okay because he still got kids. He got to take care of them. He has other obligations, but he just doesn't want to be here. The one time that I'm like, all right, cool. I'm down with doing a Saturday morning. Let's go ahead and do this Saturday morning show. Some co-host just wants to jump in and just say, hey, I know I'm only here for entertainment. Yeah, but you still signed up for it. But you know what? It's okay. We'll find ways to haze you next week when we have the show on Friday or Saturday. I don't know. We'll see what he has to say. But that being said, let's go and actually introduce the person that actually did show up for work this week, Mr. Mike T. Mike Thesis, how's it going today?
Hey, how's it going? First and foremost, this has nothing to do with the show, but I do want to give a shout out and just blessings to the whole Bush family. My boy Otis, much love. Yesterday was a beautiful service, and we just all love you, man. And we're here to support you, and we hope that you're doing well. And I just wanted to make that known. Secondly, on a lighter note, I know Manny's not here, but it's okay. I have a guest.
Let's go.
I have this guest, and it's okay. I mean, she doesn't speak a lot, but when she does speak, the insight is really, really vital. So we don't really need Manny. We have a guest. Because she doesn't really want to give her name out yet, you know what I'm saying?
That's
They're
okay.
in her DMs, but she's here, and we don't need Manny today. We good.
You know what? Shout out to our very special guest host this week. But also on the more serious note, if those who are listening don't know who we're talking about with Otis, or in the Bush family, he's a bit of a mentor for us. We've known him for decades, like grew up childhood friends or whatnot, and just the general fact that, once again, just like what Mike said, a huge condolence and a huge shout out for the Bush family. We all pray for you. We're always here for you. Everyone from Nxt Up Fantasy, just in life in general. We always got your back, Otis. So, shout out to you, man. But that being said, let's go ahead and try to lighten it up a little bit. The team that Manny dislikes beating up Maryland right now.
They're always beating somebody during our Saturday show.
What was that?
I said they're always beating somebody during our Saturday show. That's probably why Manny's not on. He's probably somewhere upset.
He was aware that it was going to happen. He was aware that he had the kids to take care of, but it's okay. It's no biggie, Manny. But yeah, it's going to be a dynamic duo game today. And the biggest story out of the entire week leading up to today actually had to do with it started during the beginning of the week, and then it kind of felt like it concluded Thursday night with a pair of quarterbacks that were looking to actually get their team up and running as far as getting themselves in the playoffs. They were both getting pushed pretty decently all of a sudden, especially with one of them from the Sunday game against the Ravens. But I know one of them's your boy, so we'll go ahead and just we'll just jump into it. We'll talk about the AFC North quarterbacks. and as well as just that division as a whole. Deshaun Watson had a great comeback win against the Ravens to lead them to beat them by 2 on Sunday. And like we were talking a lot of mess about Deshaun Watson, or there's people that talked a lot of mess about Deshaun Watson, talk about, oh, he's hurt or he shouldn't be playing if he's going to act this diva-ish way. But turns out that he played 2.5, more than half of the game with an injured shoulder. And we found out that he needs to rest it. He needs to rest it to the point where he's down for the rest of the year. And then we had on Thursday Joe Burrow, where there was some video that showed him having like something on his hand or his wrist or whatever, saying that, oh, it's just part of his healing or whatever. And turns out he ends up tearing a ligament during the game within the first quarter, I believe. And from there, he just ends up being gone for the year. So AFC North is kind of not exactly in shambles. And I guess one of the first questions that made me think about this all was, is the AFC North still competitive? Like they're still the Steelers. They're still who's mediocre, who's always been mediocre, but apparently they're always at 500 or above each and every year for the past, I think I saw 20 years at least. Cleveland Browns, they're not going with PJ Walker. They're going with I can't remember the full name. I just know the initials are DTR. He's
Dorian Thomas Robinson or something like that.
Somebody knows. Yeah, he went to
UCLA, so I know the kid.
I should know that since he went to UCLA. And he'll be starting this week. And he was actually one of the better quarterbacks during the preseason, at least. Mm-hmm. And then there's let's see, Cleveland. All right, so there's Cincinnati. Cincinnati starting. I forgot his name already. That's how pertinent it is. And then you have Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who stay up top. I think they're 7-3 right now. 7-3, 8-3, something like that, and they're on top of the AFC North. So my question becomes, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off to you. Just start generally with let's just start with the Bengals because Burrow's your boy. What do you actually see with the Bengals moving forward, and do you feel that there's any kind of chance that they can actually still continue to have some kind of a playoff run?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, I don't. I don't. I think it's over. It's over for them. Joe is just so important to what they do. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. If you're a Joe Burrow owner this year, like I know I have him in our league, the league that we all play in. He's my quarterback. And it's just such a weird year, and it's such an unfortunate year. In the beginning of the year, he's dealing with the whole calf issue, so he doesn't come out looking like Joe Burrow. Then we get him back, and he looks good, and then this happens, right? So from a fantasy standpoint, I guess I'll take it there first since we're a fantasy show. So for a fantasy standpoint, if you don't have a backup quarterback, depending on your league, you have to look and see who's there. In my league, I know I was looking the other day. I mean, I have such stellar and great options as Baker Mayfield, Will Levis, the Dorian Thomas Robinson kid. I mean, it's pretty bleak out there, man. So right now I'm kind of juggling between like Will Levis and Baker Mayfield. I'm probably going to go Baker, but it's rough. So hopefully you've invested in other positions and you can kind of ride the wave. But yeah, it's tough. Now, from a regular standpoint, football standpoint, yeah, I think they're done. And the reasons I think they're done is because their run game was already struggling. It looked sneakily efficient last game. It was kind of weird how they were able to use Joe Mixon in the first half and kind of establish a bit of a run game.
Right.
But I think that was only possible because you have the pass game with Joe Burrow. So that opens things up for the run. Without Joe Burrow now, I don't think Mixon's going to be getting very many, good looks. He's going to probably have 7 dudes in the box every time he tries to run the ball, 8 dudes. So, yeah, I think and their division is tough. So, unfortunately, I think it's over for them. They kind of dug themselves in a hole earlier in the season, losing those games. They needed to kind of get hot. And right when they were starting to get hot, this happened. So, unfortunately, if you're a Cincinnati Bengal fan, I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year.
Now, one of the things that you pointed out that actually made it a good point was the usage of Joe Mixon. It kind of seemed like the backup quarterback, in which I'll eventually know who he is in just a minute. I'll just Google it in a second. But yeah, it's kind of seemed like that he actually relied more on Joe Mixon both in the passing game and the actual running game itself. But of course, like we talked about the combination of Jamar Chase and T Higgins being one of the best duos in the league. And now without Burrow, like, what do you have any kind of expectation um, for owners of both Higgins and Jamar?
I wouldn't drop either one yet. Let's see what happens. Like I said, we have seen quarterbacks come in before, backup quarterbacks. I'm a Cowboy fan. Shoot, I remember Romo coming in, lighting it up, right? So sometimes there's guys you never heard of who come in and they do a great job. So I wouldn't get rid of him. I wouldn't get rid of either of them yet. I'd play it safe because you'd hate to be that owner who panics, puts them on the waiver wires, they go off next week, or they explode next week, and now you lost your guy. So I'd wait and see what happens, but it definitely tempers enthusiasm. Higgins is already kind of banged up. Boyd's been out there playing in his place because Higgins has been hurt. Now he's supposed to be coming back soon, and like you say, you do have Jamar Chase, who's still Jamar Chase. But when you lose Burrow, I just think the production is going to go down a bit.
Now, I admittedly had one of my leagues, the only league that I had the number one overall pick this year, and I didn't go for Jefferson. I didn't go for McCaffrey. People would have thought I would have, but I didn't. I actually went Jamar Chase for the number one overall, and that was because of how solid the playoff schedule looks from weeks 15, 16, and 17. And it just made so much sense for me to actually, as long as he still does his regular performances, then he's going to ball out in the playoffs. So right now I'm kind of on the shaky side where I still have him. The rest of my team is okay. My other wide receivers in there is, I believe, Brandon Ayuk and Amon-Ra St. Brown, but the dynamic is dwindled because of the chain reaction of the Joe Burrow situation. So fantasy wise, I'm a little bit scared for the pass catchers. But as far as the actual team itself, I'm gonna agree with you. Like, they were on a men's of like trying to make a little comeback as far as getting in the playoffs, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen for them this year. Do you have similar thoughts? And it looks like that you have at least a thought or two about Robinson, who's going to be starting for the Browns. What's your overall output now with Cleveland as well?
Okay, with Cleveland, Cleveland's a similar kind of situation. However, they've been playing better, so they're in a little bit of a better position. They can probably afford to figure things out for a week or so longer than the Bengals. I mean, honestly, the whole division's good, right? The whole division's good. That was the whole talk, was the whole division possibly making it to the playoffs. Well, that's definitely not going to happen now. But if I had to pick one team, I actually like Cleveland's chances a little bit more. I just do, because Deshaun Watson hasn't really been effective, and he's been in and out of the lineup all year, honestly. So I feel like this is something that they can overcome. I actually like the rookie. I think he's decent. Like you said, he played well in preseason. He can do a little thing with his legs. He can run a little bit. He's not a horrible thrower of the football. And if anything else, he's going to gain experience. So I think that Cleveland, if they play great defenses, that's what they're known for. Cincinnati's not really known for great defense. Cleveland's known for great defense. They have one of the better defenses in the league. Myles Garrett is going crazy this year. So as long as they have that guy and they can play defense, I think, like, they still have Jerome Ford, they can run the ball. Cleveland kind of wins in an ugly way. I can see them continuing to kind of win games and maybe sneak into the playoffs. They still kind of, to me, have a better shot of making the playoffs than the Bengals, if I had to pick one of the two.
I actually like the way that you stated that Cleveland can win ugly. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, it's kind of similar to, I guess you could say, how the Jets are doing right now, where they are still able to win, but they're winning by only having like 16 points from the offense, like 16, 17 points on the offense. And I think that's kind of going to be the same way. And I agree that with Ford playing, more than likely they're going to be boxing up the defense way more often. I kind of want to see like an acceptable floor for the pass catchers. So I'm mainly looking at Moore. I'm looking at Cooper, and I'm looking at David Njoku. But I don't know. I guess it's just a case of we have to see how Robinson plays, and like this week isn't exactly the best way to actually gamble and figure out how well he plays. But it's one of those where we could see it, but we're not noticing it. We could see him be good on with his legs, but we can see it where he has enough acceptable catchers, pass catchers to actually do well in the air, but we have to actually fully 100% see it before we can actually believe it. And if for Robinson, like I'm going to go with you, and I'm actually going to say I wish him the best. I want him to actually do well.
Hey, fun fact on that kid: he's actually from out your way. He's a Vegas kid. He went to UCLA, but he's from whatever high school. You remember Martell Tate?
Yeah.
Whatever high school he went to, he was the backup for Martell Tate. When Martell Tate went to Ohio State, he became the starter, and then he got a scholarship to UCLA. So he's a Vegas kid. So if that means anything, give him a little love. It means root for their boy.
It means everything, and that's what you have to do. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I'm looking at it now. So yeah, he went to
Gorman.
Bishop Gorman. Yeah, like Bishop Gorman is a very prestigious, maybe not prestigious, but it is one of those high and mighty high schools that's out in.
I'd say prestigious. You're right.
Okay, we'll go with prestigious.
Yeah, they're nationally ranked.
They're nationally ranked. Yeah, yes, sir. They're in Summerlin. They're like in the corner. They're like in the corner of Summerlin to the point where there's barely any more like houses and developments and things like that over there. And I'm pulling it up right now. Like as far as the players players that we know that went there. Let's see someone at the bat. Well, Randall Cunningham II. We just know the father, but we just don't know much about the son. He went there. DeMarco Murray went there. Hey,
okay.
DeMarco Murray went there. In either, it could be both actually, but Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant in the majors. They both went there. But yeah, they have a good record of who's who over there. So I'm not actually mad at that. Oh, Shabazz Muhammad.
Basketball guy. Yeah, no doubt. I remember that name.
And Brevin Jordan.
Yeah.
Who's a Texan right now. He went there. So pretty much shout out to everyone over there. So shout out to Bishop Gorman. Sponsor us. Anyway, so yeah, I think he's going to be worth a shot as far as eventually, but just not at this moment. I think everyone just wants to see it to believe it, and there's not really much to talk about with Pittsburgh, but like it's just surprising to me that Pittsburgh still has a chance to not only get into the to get into the division race, but also to actually get in the playoffs. Period. You're a Mike Tomlin guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I like Mike Tomlin because for whatever reason, when I first started growing this, people would be like, "Yeah, man, you kind of look like Mike Tomlin." I'd be like, "All right, man, well, no doubt." Like, hey, I mean, then
you are the Mike Tomlin guy.
Us handsome beard dudes have to stick together. So yeah, I like Mike Tomlin. But no, I do like Mike Tomlin. I do. I like his consistency. I think that I like the way Pittsburgh runs their organization. I actually believe in giving coaches a chance and, just letting them do their thing. And Mike Tomlin has proved to be a very solid coach. Like you said, somehow he finds a way to at least be 500 every year. So, yeah, it's an amazing thing that he's doing up there. But one thing I guess we could kind of talk about, I'll let you talk about it more than me because this is kind of your guy. But how do you feel about Jaylen Warren kind of taking over as the starting running back now in Pittsburgh? Or at least that's what they say.
Well, two things. One, Steelers are 6-3, and they're gonna be playing the Browns tomorrow. So that's just crazy. Two, so good luck, DTR. Two, it's about time. That's really all I could say. It took long enough for them to realize overall how much of a better player Jaylen Warren is to Najee Harris. Like we kind of banged the hammer multiple times on this show, not only this year but last year when we first started the show, that Najee Harris just to us isn't really. It's not that he's not physically talented. It's not that he doesn't have like the peripherals. like just overall, he just hasn't proven on the field that he can be as great as he shows that he can be, or that he claims that he could be. And Jalen Warren probably a little bit hungrier because of the fact that right now this is his second year. Last year was his rookie year. He showed towards the end of the season that he can be not only a better pass catcher, but more efficient on the ground as far as getting more average per carry, average yards per carry, excuse me. So now that they're finally showing up and actually giving him a chance, like I kind of dig it, because like every time I saw Najee Harris, I'm thinking, okay, here comes a 2 yard. It's 1st and 10. It's about to be 2nd and 8. Like that. Like we knew how much yards that Najee was going to have, with the exception of like a couple of runs or two where he actually felt the momentum to finally actually get like he broke like a 30+ yard play last week, I believe. But no, like if the only issue that I have about it is just the fact that that's like with the way that Jalen plays, that's not what Pittsburgh is used to. They're used to more ground and pound. Everyone from the bus to Le'Veon Bell, and everyone in between. Like those were the type of running backs that they play. So Jalen Warren is a different beast. Same animal, different beast. So I would like, if there is going to be a change coming through all this, then I would love to see it. And I still think that Najee is still going to be involved in the offense as far as being a back. But and on top of that, I think Najee is going to be more so of the goal line carrier, which really sucks, which kind of limits Jalen Warren as well in his fantasy upside. So if he was an all around back, then that would be something different. But I'm actually glad for Jalen. I'm glad that he's going to have the availability to actually get a shot, and hopefully people kept him long enough for so that you can get ready for him to pretty much be a bigger starter during the playoffs. So that's my overall expectation. And by the way, with your quarterback situation, I was trying to get you CJ Stroud for somebody.
Trying to give me CJ?
Yeah, I was trying to get you CJ.
You want Warren, don't you? You want Warren?
I messaged you yesterday. I messaged you yesterday saying, "Hey, what you want to do?"
We can talk about it. I mean, I might. There's not very many players I would take, because right now I'm just like, whatever. But I might take CJ.
I was about to say today's the deadline for it, so we got to talk.
Okay.
So let's talk about. I mean, we might as well just round up and just do the whole the rest of the AFC. So does this mean along on that game? Also, along in that game on Thursday with Cincinnati going with Joe Burrow going down was also a player I was like really hitting the hammer on all year this year was Mark Andrews. Ends up breaking his own ankles, and then from there, like they say, likely lost for the year. They didn't say it officially, but let's call it what it is. It's more than likely that it is going to be for the rest of the year. But we kind of saw a resurgence. And I was not expecting this at all. We saw a resurgence in one Odell Beckham in that game. And my thought right away was, with Mark Andrews gone, here's Odell Beckham. That's not going to be going. That's not going to be going deep. He's not the deep guy anymore. He's more of the I guess you could say kind of like a Cooper Kupp, where he's doing slants, and then from there he's just burning rubber from there. So two-part question to this is, do you feel that is it Baltimore's division to lose, and is now the time to consider Odell Beckham as far as being fantasy relevant?
Okay. I like that. Shout out to Odell. It was nice to see a resurgence. And I know you said he's not really a deep guy, and I agree he's not, but he had one opportunity last week. He had that guy beat deep, and Lamar just missed him. So yeah, that'd have been kind of cool if he could have caught that. I do think it's Baltimore's division to lose. I do. I still think they're the clear-cut favorite. Anytime they have Lamar Jackson back there, and he had a little bit of a scare too in that game.
Yes.
Like he might have been hurt for a minute, but he was able to kind of shake it off and get back in there. So yeah, I think it's their division to lose. But with the Odell Beckham thing, I don't know. He scares me in a way because, like you said, we haven't seen that. Now that Andrews is gone, it is possible. It's quite possible that Odell Beckham could step up into a larger role. I also kind of like Isaiah Likely.
Yeah,
I know there's been times in the past where Isaiah Likely hasn't always produced, but I do think that he's a pretty solid number 2 option. And if that's who's going to be out there replacing Mark Andrews, I do think that he has some fantasy value, especially in the tight end position, because you know how it is. Once you get past Kelsey and Andrews and all those kind of dudes, it's kind of a crapshoot some weeks.
yeah.
But I might stash Odell. If you're in a league and you have some bench space, stash him and kind of just wait and see what happens. I'd like to kind of see at least 1 or 2 more weeks to kind of see how they're using him in the offense. But he's definitely worth a stash, I feel, if you have the roster space.
And to be honest, like I don't think I've seen, like, of course this year, but it's been a while since I've seen Odell be that good or look that good. Like on paper, you see the stats, like he looks fine, but like stats is only part of the equation. You have to see how he also looks while he's getting those stats. And sometimes he was looking kind of ugly, but like,
put it this way, man. I don't mean to cut you off, but put it this way. I'm a Cowboy fan, as we all know. And
right.
last year, I remember we were making a big push to get him, and I didn't want him. So that tells you everything I feel about Odell. I just feel like he's a little long in the tooth. I feel like we kind of probably seen the best days.
It's not going to be the greatest of days for him in general, but I still feel that he still has like a little bit left.
Yeah.
And like what he did on Thursday actually showed me that. So I'm kind of leaning towards like considering him to be a starter, but he would have to be like the third receiver. He would have to be a flex. He's not going to be someone I'm going to over rely on. But that pass game, there's still opportunity there. Like with all those targets gone now with Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers has the opportunity to step up. Rashad Bateman, who we like here as well, he has an opportunity to step up. I was concerned about your boy Keaton Mitchell this game.
Yeah, he didn't look that good this game, but I mean, I think the book might be out on Keaton now, so they're a little more prepared for him. The defenses that is. So, that'll happen. Keaton Mitchell's the kind of player, like, he's not a big dude. He's got to hit that hole and go. He's got to have some splash plays. Keaton Mitchell might be the kind of dude who have 12 carries, and, like, 10 of those carries might be for, like, 3 yards, but then he'll break an 80-yarder. Like, right. That's the kind of player that Keaton Mitchell is. So I think with volume, he'll have production, but it's tough because that backfield is so tricky with Gus Edwards and Mitchell and whoever the heck they want to throw back out there. So, yeah, it's Keaton Mitchell. I like Keaton Mitchell, but be wary with playing Keaton Mitchell. He's not going to pop off every week. That's just not going to happen.
Now, I'm kind of secure. Wait, I want to see who scored this touchdown. Okay, Maryland's getting close. Okay, but
I like Maryland. I do.
You're a Maryland guy.
Yeah, they're one of those slept-on teams in the Big 12, man. But they're always a hard team to beat. And I like Mike Locksley. He doesn't get enough credit as a head coach. He does a lot there with a little bit. If he was at a big-time program, I'd love to see how Mike Locksley would do like at a USC. I would love to see that, but you could probably never see that.
That'd be interesting. Maybe, who knows? With Keaton Mitchell, yeah. First of all, Justice Hill, irrelevant. Like he's like done now. Like Keaton Mitchell does everything that we wish Justice Hill did. Shout out to Manny's boy Justice Hill. But for right now, like, yeah, it kind of looks more on the 1-2 of Mitchell and Edwards. Edwards is going to be a goal. It's going to be more of a goal line back, but he can also be a change of pace. But I think they are going to rest on Keaton Mitchell's shoulders a little bit more often right now. So he kind of seems a little bit more reliable, which is not a bad thing. So if there's any frustrated Keaton Mitchell fans or Keaton Mitchell owners from this past week, if it's not too late, look into a trade to see if you can get him, because I think he may be worth it later on the year. But yeah, like I said, like when Odell got added on to the game or added on to the Ravens, like they kind of had a bigger expectation of the passing game to being a little bit more relevant. But now with Mark Andrews gone, it could be a little bit more expected as far as what they plan to do on what they plan to do next, because it does kind of seem like now they have to go kind of back a little bit and push more on the run game like they used to in the past couple of years versus the pass game. So Odell Beckham, I think he's just like you said, he's going to be worth a stash. And the ceiling for that would probably be him being a wide receiver 3 or flex. So still think Lamar. Yeah. So and I'll also say the same thing with you that Lamar and the Ravens are likely going to end up being the champs this year for the AFC North. And actually, let's go ahead and toss it to you with one more question. Steelers and Browns, they haven't played yet. So Bengals are at 5-5. Browns and Steelers are at 6-3. And Ravens are 8-3. They haven't gotten to their bye week yet. Who gets second?
Man, first of all, we got to get the Ravens some rest. They haven't had a bye week yet. My goodness.
That was one of the reasons why I picked. I was kind of focused on let's say Lamar and Andrews because of the fact that they I didn't have to worry about subbing them until towards the end of the playoffs with week 13. So yeah, they got 2 more games, or no, they got 1 more game. Then they're finally going to have the week off.
Okay. Well, yeah, man, those guys deserve a week off. Hope they go to Cabo or something. Do something fun, Lamar. But you deserve it, man. But second, well, let's see. If I had to pick a team to finish in second, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Just consistent, steady Pittsburgh. I think they'll find a way to finish in second. They're going to have to run the ball with Najee Harris and run the ball with Jaylen Warren more specifically. The wide receivers are good. I like the wide receivers that they do have. I'm just not really huge on Kenny Pickett, but hey, they still have their starter and they have a decent defense. They have a good coach. Yeah, I think the Steelers could end up in that second slot, which I would have never predicted in the beginning of the season. So good for them.
Trust us, we didn't predict it in the beginning of the season. But and it's funny because I think they ended up saying that I think there was some kind of stat where they said that the Pittsburgh Steelers have for the past couple of games or all year where where their opposing teams always have more yards than the Pittsburgh Steelers, and yet they've won 6 games so far this year.
How do they do this?
That's difficult. You would think with more yards, more touchdowns, more scoring, and all this other stuff, but no, somehow, some way, Pittsburgh is still in it, still at 6-3, which is surprising. They'll likely be 7-3 after tomorrow, which is scary. So, it's kind of funny that I don't think any other team could do that. There's I would kind of think especially with the surge that they have now, a team like the Broncos would be somewhat in that 7-3 right now, but no, they're I'm not sure if they're even last right now. What they're, because they are last. They're 4-5 right now. But
they've been hot lately though.
Yeah, they're catching up though. They've been getting better, and I'm glad that they actually are. But generally, yeah, I never would have expected Pittsburgh to be where they actually are right now. So we're calling it Ravens, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the gist. Okay. All right. So, I guess we can go ahead and freestyle the last bit of positional likes since someone wants to stay home and spend time with kids. Look, we have a special guest here, and the special guest was willing. This right here, she was cool of swinging by, coming over, and actually deciding to actually say a bit or two about this about fantasy. So she's a little bit numb right now, but that's okay. But I do have the feeling that she's going to be part of this segment. So that being said, I am actually going to pull up the quarterbacks because I wish I would have done this earlier. So and you got phones ringing right now.
Yeah, man.
This is what happens on a live show. This is
trying to be professional. Yeah, man. Excuse me. I have a live wife who's calling me during the live show, so let me send her a live text and let her know that.
Let her know that you're live.
My bad.
I'm just saying, if she looked at YouTube just right now, she'd be looking at us right this very moment.
She'd see.
She would know these things.
All right, we're good.
Shout out though. Shout out.
Most definitely.
All All right, so I'll go ahead and start off with three quarterbacks. As I'm looking down on here, so I can get like a bit of a better understanding. I'm actually going to start off with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud playing against Arizona. Stroud is going to be playing against a now not really new and improved Cardinals, but they're just not hurt. And with Kyler Murray actually being the guy behind the quarterback position, there is actually more availability to have the better chances for Arizona to actually score points. But along with that, the Arizona Cardinals defense is still a terrible defense. So because of that, there's still the hope that CJ Stroud can continue his we'll call it history making, because that's just what it is, a historical rookie year this year. The continuation is pretty much going to happen. So that's the way I see it. One that's probably going to be a little bit on the left field side. Let's go with Jordan Love against the Chargers. Now it's not even just a case of me having the faith in the quarterback. It's me having the faith in the lack of defense that the Chargers have when it comes to passing. They've always been one of the worst in the league, and giving up so many points. They gave up 41 last week to, I forgot who they played. Who did the Chargers play last week? Do you remember?
Who did the Chargers play last week? I don't, man.
They won 41 on them. Was it the Colts?
Did they lose?
No, they ended up losing. Oh, they played the Lions.
Yeah.
So the Lions put up 41 on them, and there's been lesser teams that at least put up at least 20, 25 points on them. So that being said, I have the feeling that that Jordan Love can somehow, some way find the similar love that he got in the beginning of the year, where he had like 6 touchdowns in 2 games. But it may not be like the same route, but there's going to be a way for him to actually be somewhat relevant this week. And I'm going to say, this may sound weird, but I'm going to say stay away from Sam Howell. I've been touting him all year as far as him being good, as far as at least being a stat patter, but like, they don't really have the best of history playing against the Giants. The Giants actually beat them earlier this year, and I just feel that this is going to be a little bit closer than what it should be, and Sam Howell's going to find a way to actually just totally mess it up. That's just my general thought. I'm actually hoping I'm wrong on that one. So there you go. So, Mike T and Guess, what do you two guys got today?
I like those, and I definitely think that Sam Howell will mess something up at some point, because I mean, he's a commander, and they suck. So anyway, yeah. So we're here to tell you our positional likes. I'm going to give you one, and then my guest host is going to give you one as well. So like I said, she's shy. She doesn't like the lights and all this is a little bit too much for her. Okay, I like that. So for her positional pick that she's going to give you this week, she says that she likes Jerome Ford.
Hey,
she likes Jerome Ford. So if she likes Jerome Ford, I like Jerome Ford too. Let me tell you why I like Jerome Ford. Number one, we just talked about Pittsburgh, and they are a good team, but Pittsburgh's run defense isn't the greatest this year. It just really isn't. So I think Jerome Ford will have opportunities. Another thing I do like about Jerome Ford is the fact that, as we've said, they're going to have to rely on him because the quarterback is new. He's a little green. He's going to have to rely on that running game, and that spells great, or that means a lot of work for Jerome Ford, which is a fantasy owner. You want the volume, you want that. Now, I know that Jerome Ford hasn't scored a touchdown in a couple of weeks, but I actually think that that's a good thing. I think he gets in the end zone this week. Hey, I'll live dangerously. And this is crazy because I don't think he's done it all year probably, and he certainly hasn't done it in a while. I don't think he scored a touchdown since week 7, but I'm going to say Jerome Ford gets you 2 touchdowns this week and over 80 yards. So go with Jerome Ford. Second pick, I'm going to push her to the side for a little bit because I need no help with this pick. My second pick is a little bit of a sleeper pick for those probably who don't watch the Cowboys, but if you do watch the Cowboys and you kind of see what's happening in the backfield, go fire up Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle, I think, has made a name for himself He seems to be a little more of a bruiser than Tony Pollard. And with the Cowboys' red zone issues and struggles, I think that they're willing to try new things. He looked really good last week. He looked shifty, and I think that his presence actually made Tony Pollard work a little harder. As he's looking over his shoulder, like, "Oh, I can't let this guy take my job." He doesn't want the same thing to happen to him that happened to Zeke, right? But yeah, I really like Rico Dowdle. He has fresh legs. I think he's going to do something out of the backfield. You can probably go get him on your waiver wire right now. I know he's still available in a lot of different leagues, and I think after this week, he might not be anymore. So go get him now, fire him up. I see Rico Dowdle getting 10+ points. That's another bold one, but he'll give you 10+ points this week.
That's what's up. And I'll try to do my impression of Manning doing wide receivers. He always picks Garrett Wilson. He likes to pick the Jets.
He likes those Ohio State guys. Deep down inside, he knows.
No, like I was going with the point that he's always picking the Jets. Remember how he said that Zach Wilson was going to be a top 10 for sure, guaranteed, and it didn't happen. Same thing with Garrett Wilson. Didn't happen. So I'm going to say Breece Hall. Actually, no, he picked Breece Hall like the other week too, like last week too, I think. So yeah, his love for the Jets. Shout out. But let's see. I'm gonna try it here. So I'm gonna go without too much explanation. I'm gonna say DK Metcalf playing against the Rams. I'm gonna say Deontay Johnson versus the Browns. And someone that's a little bit more on the obvious side. You'll like this. CeeDee Lamb versus the Panthers. We'll see how those picks hold up. Like I said, I'm not Manny. I'm not going to pick a Jet. Never can, never will. I don't think. But that's pretty much it. That's it for the show this week. Keep watching your college football right here. Michigan is probably. I don't know. Do you think Michigan can lose this game or will lose this game?
I don't think Michigan can lose this game. Well, you know what? I take that back. Michigan can lose this game. They can, but I don't think they will. I think Michigan will find some way to pull it out. They typically do. But I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see him in a couple of weeks. The Ohio State Buckeyes, we will be in Ann Arbor this year for all the marbles, man. And I hope that they're undefeated at that point. I really do, because I don't want any excuses. And I don't want them, being defeated and then making us lose or some bullshit. so no, I want them undefeated. So I'm actually rooting for them today. Please win, Michigan, because I want to be the team that knocks you guys off whatever pedestal that you feel that you're on. I can't wait. So, Michigan will win today. They'll continue to win, and we will see them in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait.
Tua's brother plays for Maryland?
Yes, he does, and he's nice, too. He's not as nice as Tua, but he's really a decent prospect. He'll probably be a second-day pick, I think, in later rounds. I think he'll be a developmental quarterback, but, yeah, he's a decent quarterback. He can sling the rock, for sure.
He can sling it, but he just got picked off by Michigan, so there you go.
That's his problem. He can sling it, and sometimes to the wrong team.
He didn't say who he'll sling it to.
Yeah.
You're right. But that's pretty much it for the live show today. Like I said, watch a little college football. Tomorrow, if everyone is okay with it, tomorrow morning, we're gonna have our start and sit show. We're gonna do a little we're gonna do a next up parlay again, and not to be that guy that pops his collar. I don't know the last time person even said pops his collar, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Pop. Last time, I'm streaking, man. I'm streaking, man, on those parlays. So
I see, man. Keep it going.
So hopefully I can give you guys a couple more gems tomorrow, as far as who we all like. And Manny, I should try to get Manny on the show tomorrow, just because he's away from this show now. If you're watching, you probably are. Manny, we're gonna talk, man. But that's gonna be it for the show. For Mike T, what up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Saturday morning was fun. I enjoyed it. I think we gave you guys some useful advice, some things you can do in your league to kind of help you out. Like I said, we're getting to playoff season, so I mean, it's getting real now. You need to solidify your spot. You need to make sure that you get in there and you need to make sure that your roster is strong, because you never know what's going to happen. It's been a crazy year. People are getting hurt. People are going down. So we're trying to give you the advice that you guys need on a weekly basis. I think we're doing a pretty good job of doing that. So continue to rock with us. We'll continue to do the research and bring you guys some decent things you can do. I want to hear some feedback from some league winners, hopefully some people that we've helped. And just hold tight, man. We're getting to the playoff season, and it should be a lot of fun.
For your boy Will, I'm glad that you guys actually hopped in. Hope you guys enjoyed the advice that we actually gave this week. It was a little bit more on the side of AFC North, but we had to talk about it. But that being said, you guys have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, whatever you guys are listening to this, whatever you guys are watching. We'll go 8:30 actually. 8:30 Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. Watch the sit and start show, and just rock with us tomorrow. So until then, talk to you later.